Whispers of the Wyrm **. In a small, forgotten town nestled between misty mountains and dark forests, the townsfolk spoke in hushed tones about an ancient myth. The Wyrm, a serpent-like dragon said to emerge from the depths of the earth during the blood moon to reclaim what was once its domain. The variation of the tale morphed over generations, but they all shared a chilling warning: beware the Wyrm. It hungers for fear. Quote, the blood moon was approaching, and with it came an air of unease. Eileen, a skeptic and an aspiring journalist, found herself returning to her childhood home after years away, drawn by a strange compulsion to document the local legends. Though she scoffed at myths, she felt the pull of the town's legacy deep within her bones. As she wandered the cobblestone streets, she noted the eyes that lingered on her, a mix of pity and dread. The townspeople were preparing for the night, boarding up windows and huddling close together in their homes, muttering prayers and offering sacrifices to appease the slumbering beast. Eileen pressed them for stories, but the elderly only shook their heads, too fearful to indulge her disbelief. Leave it be, dear, murmured old man Hanley, his voice raspy with age. You can't fight a Wyrm with your words. It seeks a heartbeat, not a narrative. Quote, but curiosity ignited a fire in Eileen's chest, and she resolved to investigate the tale for herself. That evening, forced to confront her fear, she hiked to the ancient cave rumored to be the Wyrm's home. The dense fog swirled around her like a tangible entity, shrouding her in an eerily intimate embrace. Inside the gaping maw of the cave, she stumbled upon hieroglyphs on the walls, symbols of twisted bodies entwined in a dance of despair. The air grew thick with tension as if the cave was alive and breathing beneath her feet. Eileen's heart thundered in her chest, but she pressed on, driven by a fierce determination. Hours passed as she maneuvered through the penumbra, the sound of dripping water echoing ominously. Suddenly, she found herself in a cavernous chamber, the walls shimmering with an otherworldly glow. At its center lay an enormous stone altar, and upon it, scorched remnants of offerings, a grotesque tapestry of animals, charred bones, and shards of glass, lay strewn across its surface. Just then, the ambiance shifted. A low rumble resonated through the floor as shadows grew, stretching and twisting, coiling through the darkness like a living thing. Eileen felt a sharp chill, crawling along her spine. Driven by instinct, she turned to flee, but as she reached the cave's mouth, a piercing roar erupted behind her. The Wyrm had awakened. Eileen spun around in horror as a massive, serpent-like creature battered its way out of the stone, scales glistening like obsidian beneath the faint glow of the cave. Its eyes, two molten pools of unfathomable rage, fixed upon her, burning with an insatiable hunger. She felt its gaze claw at her insides, dredging up an abysmal fear that paralyzed her. To survive, she instinctively fell to the ground, trembling in submission. But the Wyrm was not appeased. It slithered closer, tongue flickering, tasting her scent as it approached. Eileen had read that the Wyrm feasted not on flesh but on the essence of fear, and in that moment, deep despair washed over her. I'm not afraid, she whispered, though the tremble in her voice betrayed her. The creature paused, its countenance momentarily faltering as if evaluating her. But as she held its gaze, something remarkable happened. Her determination filled the chamber, filling the void with a warm glow. The Wyrm recoiled as if struck, letting out a howl that reverberated through the cave. Rather than succumbing to her terror, she realized that striking a deal with the monster was necessary. I know of your suffering. I will write your tale, immortalize it in my words if you let this town live free from your wrath, she bartered, the air thick with desperation. For what felt like an eternity, the Wyrm regarded her, its fiery eyes narrowing. Just when she thought she might lose her sanity, the beast began to retreat, and then, with an earth-shaking roar, it sank back into the stone, retreating to slumber once more. Eileen scrambled from the cave, heart racing, her breath hitching as she sprinted back to town. When she reached the edge of the forest, the dawn light draped over the town like a protective shroud. She found the townsfolk emerging, peering into the new day with awe, their fears stilled. Over the weeks that followed, Eileen chronicled the Wyrm's saga, a mix of myth and truth that resonated with more than mere horror. The story unspooled, weaving a tapestry of bravery that bound the town together. But as she penned the last words, an uneasiness lingered deep within her. The worm may have retreated, but the bond she had forged, could it endure? On the night of the next blood moon, beneath the soft glow, she felt an ancient whisper dance upon her skin, a reminder that fear does not die. It only sleeps, biding its time, waiting for the next chance to awaken.